This is Coach's Corner.
Welcome, Commodore fans, to Coach's Corner, a production of Gulf Coast State College. Today, Coach Scovel and I will talk about the Lady Commodores and that 18-0 overall perfect record thus far. More importantly than that, Coach, 1-0 in the Panhandle Conference, ranked number 1 in the state coaches poll, ranked number 1 in the NJCAA national poll. Saturday night, a big Panhandle Conference opener. Both teams, perfect records. One ranked number 1, one ranked number 3 in the country. A great crowd, and some would say, wow, that could have been a national tournament game. But you have possibly 11 more of those kinds of games.
Absolutely. You know, when you look at what happened with Tallahassee and Pensacola and the number of points they put on the board, you know, I would venture to say if I scored 89, I would certainly think that we'd have a chance to win the ball game. And Tallahassee loses scoring 89 points, and Pensacola puts up 100. So I think Panhandle play is going to be quite the place to be to watch some great women's basketball.
And when you look at all 5 women's teams, all of them ranked in the top 15 in the country right now. Now, we're going to beat each other up, and some of them are going to move down and some will move up based upon just having to play each other 3 times.
Right. It'll affect some. Hopefully, you know, the pollsters will understand what we're doing down here, and we won't move quite as much. Probably should stay in the top 15 or even 12 maybe. I think Pensacola will probably move up, and so, you know, hopefully, you know, they'll have the knowledge to kind of keep us there, even though, you know, 3 or 4 losses, it's hard to stay up there very high. But still, when you look at the competition and what we've done in preseason, hopefully the pollsters will take that into consideration.
So now, Saturday night we defeated Chipola in the first round and one of 3 games we will play them. Fortunately, 2 at home and 1 on the road. Yeah. But you still have to play them 3 times. We won 84-75.
Right.
And the first quarter, they were actually up 24-23. And then the second quarter, we won by 125-24, then 17-11, and then 19-16. So the ladies just got stronger and stronger as the game went on.
Yeah, you know, both teams, I thought, you know, like both teams, there wasn't much defense being played, but both teams were just very, very poised offensively. And we had some big shots, you know. Chipola hit some big threes, and of course Barbara Johnson had a tremendous game, and you know, we just both played well. That was a very exciting game offensively, and then both teams came back out in the second half and played some pretty good defense in the third quarter. So, you know, to watch teams adjust and make those adjustments at halftime, and for kids to be able to do it in the first game of the season, the first conference game, the emotions, the nervousness, I thought it was a well-played game.
Oh, and if we look at that, you talked about Barbara Johnson. Before that game, she's averaging about 11 points a game and ends up putting up 36 for the night.
Yeah, she just had a great night.
I mean, in the first half, it was like if she launched it, it would end.
Yeah, so she shot well. She did some good things. She attacked, you know, our weakness, and you know, but at the end of the day, she made some tough shots too. They were contested at times, and we gave away some, but you know, we had to give away some because we knew they had their spot-up shooters, and we said we weren't going to be able to help much, that people were going to be on their own. So, you know, they had a good game plan for her to attack, and she had a great night. But at the end of the day, some of their, you know, spot-up shooters didn't have great nights. So if we had to trade out something, then I guess that's what we traded out. She had a great night, and they weren't so wonderful. But, you know, at the end of the day, we got a win. However we had to do it, we got the win, and we stepped up to the plate and made some plays, and people, you know, made some great plays offensively, and we made some nice key defensive plays late in the game.
And also, when you talk about the other players, really, they never got comfortable. And that's the credit your defense, not to allow the opponent to get comfortable in their offense.
Right.
So I thought they did a great job.
We did. You know, it was a high-scoring game, but it was 2 high-powered offenses playing against each other. And you know, again, we're just thankful that we got this win. And but it was a very, you know, it's a very short turnaround. We have to turn around and play tomorrow. So we can't talk about it too much today, and we got to move on and get ready for the next one that may be tougher than that one.
So we'll talk about it a little bit before we move on here. But from a coaching perspective, that game's behind you, and you're looking at Tuesday night. So now Taylor Emery for the Lady Commodores come out and scored 28.
Yeah, she, you know, and we're playing Taylor at a couple positions now, and she can just score in so many different ways. She's gaining confidence as the season goes on. You know, she started out kind of on fire and then kind of had a little lull in there and was trying to add some things to her game. And now she's back and playing offensively with a lot of confidence. And if we can add a little bit of some better defensive play to that, she's probably looking at All-American status if she can continue to do this.
Because you could tell she was comfortable in that game.
Yeah.
And played, and when we needed a basket, she could pretty well.
She was a go-to player, and we've talked about that. You have to become that. You have to be able to, take over the game at that point. And she's not at that level yet, but she knew that we needed her to score, and she scored a lot of different ways. She shot the three, she took it to the rack, she pulled up for mid-range shots, and when you have a player that has that triple threat, they're hard to stop. And Barbara Johnson was kind of the same way Saturday, and so it was kind of fun to watch Taylor have that success, and she actually had it where we had a kind of a weakness the other night, and she stepped up and played a different position and got points from that position too.
So, and then Bennett comes off the bench, scores 14 for you, perfect from the free throw line.
Yeah, she's a tremendous scorer, and I see Shayla, she's had some great nights. I think she had 34 one time, and the other night, that was her first conference game as a freshman, and came in and still got 14 points and wasn't real comfortable. Never really did just get completely comfortable with that game. So to know that she could put up 14 points and be a little bit nervous and not on her A game, that's nice to know that she can get 14 and not be on her A game.
So, and then if we look, Dunlap with 12, the three players in the Lady Commodores double figures.
Absolutely. Julia's kind of coming into her own too. She's kind of learning about the athleticism, and she can't take plays off, and she's got to be consistent with the aggression offensively and defensively. And she's becoming a pretty good shot blocker, and I think that's going to get better as we move along, and she gets in great shape and in better condition. And so Julia's really given us, her and Lasagna are really kind of starting to step up, because Lasagna came in and was a great spark. We keep talking about that sixth man's got to come in and maybe be your best player coming off the bench, and we've made that change a few games ago, and it looks like that's been a good change for us.
So, and she had 10 rebounds.
Oh,
so
yeah.
She's strong on the boards
Yeah,
now.
Lasagna was outstanding. I thought she was the difference in the rebounding game. I thought Lasagna Edwards really gave us those big defensive plays and big defensive rebounds. And so it was good to see. Hopefully she can continue to do that.
So, and if we look at it, only 11 turnovers for the game.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I think that that may be a low for a first conference game. I would, if I have to go back to the history books, but I would say that's a low. So that means we were poised. We were very well composed and handling pressure and doing what we needed to do. And that's a tribute to Ty to say that she managed the game well as a point guard, and she did. She played very well.
So, especially in the closing moments of the game, she just played keep away. They couldn't run her down. She was smart. Clock management. Everything you want from her.
She did. She managed the game really well. Maybe the best of this season. So she picked a good game to have her best management play.
And then if we go and look, 19 of 25 from the free throw line, 76%. Not bad. 5 of 12, 41.7% from the three-point line. It's pretty good.
Yeah, we'll take that.
And then 30 of 64 for 46.9% from the floor. So when you take all that, and it being a pressure opening game, what a tremendous game for the Lady
Absolutely. That's just great composure offensively. We talked about that, and to have 48 points at halftime. Of course, Chipola did too, unfortunately, but we just performed well offensively, and proud for us. And again, we put up 84 points, and got to hope that that'll be enough.
In our case, a little above our average, and for the Chipola's case, a little below their average for points per game. So, now the reward for that is tomorrow night you get to go to Tallahassee and play Tallahassee, and we've talked about in other shows that you think Tallahassee may be the team this year.
Well, they took a loss Saturday night, so that's what's so crazy. But they're very, very talented. They've got a lot of depth, a lot of scoring ability, and obviously to score 89 points, that was and that was on the road. They got that on the road. So to go in their house, it's going to be awfully tough to go over there and get a win. But we're going to try to get ready. And we're going to go, and again, we won Saturday night. We're not going to get crazy that we won. We're going to just be glad we've got one in the win column, and now we got to go to Tallahassee and try our best to get another one. And if we do, we won't get crazy, and if we don't, we're going to get back to work and try to figure out how we can get another win in the win column.
So, and if we look at them, they're 15-2 overall, 0-1 in the Panhandle Conference right now, ranked third in the state coaches poll, ranked 11th in the NJCA national poll. lost at Pensacola Saturday, their opener, 100-89. So, you know, and that just goes to show you all 12 games in the Panhandle Conference are going to be huge games like Saturday. Herman and I were actually exhausted by the time the women's game was over with because of that much electricity and energy. And then we realized that we got 11 more.
Absolutely.
Because there's been times when you could see some games would be a little easier, but there is no easy road now.
No.
And now with Tallahassee dropping that game, they're going to want to get back in.
No, they're going to be hungry, and everybody's going to be hungry to be the team that you know. I know when we were there in Central Florida was a team to beat back in the day, and we couldn't wait to play them and be the team that could knock them off that pedestal. So you know, everybody's going to get up to be the team that takes us down, and we've got to step up to the plate and say, you know, we don't want you to be the one. Not today anyway. So hopefully our girls will kind of throw their chest out tomorrow and compete as hard as we can and see if we can come away with a victory.
And if we look at the numbers for the game, they're right now averaging 94.6 points a game. Lady Commodores 85.3.
Yeah.
Field goal percentage in favor of them 44.1 to 43.1. 3-point percentage in favor of Lady Commodores 37 to 32.6. Free throw percentage in favor of Lady Commodores 69.4 to 68.3. Rebounds per game in favor of Tallahassee, 42.6 compared to 39.9. Assists per game goes Tallahassee 17.4 to 15.2 for the Commodores.
Just right there, neck and neck. Right.
So in other words, and kind of the same setup that we had. You know, Chipola came in averaging more than the Lady Commodores.
Yeah.
So then we will play tomorrow at 4:30 Central Time.
Yeah.
So it'll be a radio broadcast. So if you tune in on Tuesday at 4:30, you'll hear the play-by-play from the Eagle Dome, and we'll go to that game. And then Saturday, we're back at home, and then we have Northwest Florida coming. That's 13-2 overall. They didn't play Saturday; they were off, but they'll play Pensacola Wednesday at home.
Right.
And then they're ranked 4th in the state coaches poll and 14th in the NJCAA national poll. So what do we think about that game, Coach?
Well, you know, Northwest is, you know, everybody will start the season and say, oh, they don't look as good as they were last year, and they'll be sitting in the state title game every year. So, you know, it's about time for, like I say, they only have 2 losses, but I imagine we're going to see all their strengths come Saturday night, and I hope Pensacola sees it more on Wednesday night at their place. But, you know, Northwest has got size, they have good guards, they have great athletes, and they have a lot of swagger. I like their team. I don't like to play against them, but they play with a lot of confidence, and they're just, I fear them. They have a lot of size in the post. They have a real big post player and that's probably the one thing that's missing in the Panhandle is just great size. So they do have that post presence that's thick and strong and going to be hard to defend.
And they come from tradition. And that's
absolutely.
the thing there. So in other words,
expected to win.
So expected to win every game. Now, the big point difference here is Lady Commodores averaging 85.3. They average 68.6 points a game.
Yeah, but they've been kind of, like you say, coming into their own and filling each other out. A lot of new places, a lot of new people and faces, and they've just kind of gotten better, in my opinion, as the season has progressed. And I think we're going to see the best of Northwest here shortly. And like I say, I hope it's Wednesday night and not Saturday.
Because they're riding a 5-game winning streak
Absolutely.
right now, so they're starting to put it together.
Yep.
So the Lady Commodores on the road tomorrow. 4:30 start time Central Time at Tallahassee, and then Saturday in the Billy Harrison Fieldhouse at 5:30.
Yes.
So a great crowd for the Chipola game.
Yes.
We need another great crowd for the Northwest Florida game.
We're going to need it every time. We need people to hop on a bus and go to Tallahassee tomorrow. We're going to need that, as we call it, the 6th man is our fan, and the Gulf Coast fans are just outstanding, and we appreciate all their support. They just embrace us. And Saturday night was just one of those nights where it was kind of the place to be, and we had most of Panama City in the Billy Harrison Fieldhouse.
So for Coach Scovel, I'll be right back, Commodore fans, with Coach Jay Powell and talk about how the men did this past Saturday. Welcome back, Commodore fans. Now we're going to talk about how the men did last Saturday with their Panhandle Conference opener. Right now, the Commodores 15-3 overall. But probably the most important thing, they're 1-0 in the Panhandle Conference, riding a 2-game winning streak, ranked at number 8 in the state coaches poll, and defeated Chipola in a Panhandle Conference opener, our conference rivalry. Great crowd there last night, our Saturday night, and we win 106-87 against the 23rd ranked team in the country, Coach. So congratulations. Those openers are always usually the hardest ones to get, but it looks like all 12 of them this year will be the hard ones to get.
You're right. All 12 or all 11 of the remaining conference games will be very tough games, very physical games. Saturday night, honestly, last week in preparation, I knew that our game plan and our scouting report were prepared correctly and at a high level, but it took until Friday afternoon. We actually practiced twice last Friday because I just explained to the men, I don't think that they're ready. They're not practicing like we're going to have to play in order to win. Maybe some nerves, maybe some questioning in their mind if they were good enough. I don't know. But we came back and had a second practice Friday afternoon, and the men practiced at a high level. And then our game day shoot around / practice, whatever someone refers to that as is fine with me. That was at a high level. And then even though we faced some adversity Saturday night, the men played well, played hard, and just kind of stuck with it, just kept doing what they could do and what was within their control. And by the end of the game, it paid off, and we were successful.
And if we look at it, at halftime score, it was 46-42 Chipola. And in the second half, we won 64-41 for 106-87. Chipola came out, I thought, firing on all cylinders. The shots were falling, they were playing, and I have to give the men credit. It would have been easy for them to say, okay, this is 23rd ranked team in there, and I'm going to pack it in. But instead, they kept chipping away and playing, and they got stronger and stronger and stronger as the game went on.
The third key to victory was just the acknowledgement that there were going to be some highs and lows, and that we just need to continue to do what we do the entire game and see how it ends. And the men did that. I'll give them credit, give Chipola credit. They did come out firing on all cylinders. Their point guard play was very, very good early, and they built that 14-point lead up on us. So they did a good job. Before we move too far forward, I do want to say the crowd was great. Chipola's crowd, they brought a lot of people, or many people here, and then our Gulf Coast fans were loud and present and did a really nice job also. So thank you to all of our Gulf Coast fans for the support. And you'd be hard pressed for $5 a person to find any just better entertainment, more enjoyment than coming to watch our Lady Commodores and our Commodores play a basketball game, because we have 5 more home games this season. But going back to the game specifically, as you mentioned, the men chipped away, and even after being down 14, it wasn't like we were down 14 and then all of a sudden, boom, we were tied because of our own run. We got it back down to 10 or 11, and it stayed there for a few possessions, and we got it back down to 6 or 7, and it stayed there a few possessions. And then we actually missed a free throw just before halftime that could have cut it to 3. And so it was just kind of sticking with it and doing what we can do. And the men made some shots when they needed to make some shots. They actually did a good job. When you're playing Chipola especially, Tallahassee's a little bit this way, Pensacola Northwest, of course, too. We're all 5 very, very good. It's hard to simulate in practice, though, the size and the speed, the athleticism that Chipola has. And I did feel like even though we started out maybe 4-4, 5-4, I did feel like early in the game we weren't quite adjusted to the size, athleticism, quickness that Chipola has. And then maybe we got adjusted. Maybe we kind of figured out that, okay, we are going to have, Coach wasn't lying, we are going to have to block out better, we're going to have to deny flashes better. And then when we made those adjustments, the men made those adjustments, we were able to find success.
And I think Van Johnson did a great job for you, Coach, helping it there, staying there, scored 26 points.
We did something that I guess would be considered atypical of a coach in the situation where you're playing a team that's bigger than you, jumps higher than you, physically thicker than you. We actually took Will Robinson out of the starting lineup, who's a very big, strong 6'5" forward, and we inserted Van, and both of them responded. To give both of those men credit, they both responded very well. No dropping of the head, no pouting. You know, there's a million options of how young men can handle situations. They both just stepped up and played basketball. So Van was great, and I know that you were going to get to Will, but Will was great. And then other people, of course, Jeremy, Dashane, Londell did great. Josh Wade plays great defense as always. And so it's just a good all-around effort. But yes, Van, especially in the first half when maybe some other guys on the team were figuring out, you know, how do we got to play to win a game like this? Van already knows because he won games last year in the Panhandle Conference. So he was a big help.
So, and then you talked about Will Robertson coming off the bench and still scores 25 points. So, and between the two of them, they did a nice job. Everybody expects Jeremy Harris to score. I mean, you just understand that. And he still got 19 for you. So when you put all that together, Jeremy didn't have to carry everybody. Everybody was carrying everybody Saturday night.
And that's a good thing for us, and we hope that will continue. There will be times and there will be games that we need Jeremy to really step up and show out for us. But as you mentioned, Saturday night was just a great team effort. Jeremy was fighting a little bit of turf toe from early in the game when he got tripped on a play, and he's probably going to go very lightly today in practice, if at all, because of that turf toe injury. But we do believe that he'll be able to get it taped and get it tightened up tight enough to where he can compete tomorrow night at Tallahassee.
So, and I'm always going to talk about Londell King because I just like the way he plays. Played with a lot of fouls early and kind of affected him. Still had 11 points for you, but whenever he's on the floor, he just plays hard.
He's got a great motor. Londell, really, you know, he got an offensive putback early in the game. And things, and he could have stayed out of foul trouble if he'd have slid over and taken a charge instead of turning to the side. And the men know better, but you know everything's happening so fast. Sometimes you don't get it exactly right. But as you mentioned, he only played about 4 or 5 minutes in the first half, which means I need to give some credit to Raquel Smoot also. Raquel had 10 points and 5 rebounds in the game, and just really probably played his either best or second best game of the season. Raquel did, and that was big for us because when Londell had to come out with 2 fouls so early in the first half, Raquel really allowed us to not miss a beat. And then Raquel gave us good minutes in the second half also, even though Londell played the majority of the minutes in the second half and of course did great.
So, and if we look at the numbers, and when you look at these numbers, they're good numbers, but when you consider that it's a Panhandle Conference opener at home, with all the pressure for those freshmen that haven't played really at this level till Saturday night. 23 of 33, 69.7% from the free throw line, 11 of 22 from the three-point line for 50%, and then 36 of 63 for 57.1%. Nice shooting night when you consider all the pressure and everything else that's going on, and still put up those numbers.
You're right. We shot the ball well. Chipola shot the ball well also, especially in the first half. I believe in the first half they were maybe 53 or 54% from the field. So much higher scoring. I remember at halftime of the women's game, the score was 48-all. And I remember thinking, I don't think our game's going to be like this. And then it actually, I hope it wouldn't be considered a moment of distraction. When I was walking into the locker room at halftime, it kind of just clicked in my mind. Our game is like this. Our game's exactly the same way. We're in the mid to high 40s right here. But our defense got, I felt like, substantially better in the second half, especially in the last 6 or 6.5 minutes. That enabled us to pull away with a win.
So, and then short turnaround, play Tuesday, tomorrow, at Tallahassee. Tallahassee's 18-1 overall, 1-0 in the Panhandle Conference, riding a 5-game winning streak. Ranked number 2 in the state coaches poll, ranked number 9 in the NJCA national poll. They defeated Pensacola State at Pensacola for their home opener, 79-62.
was a good win for Tallahassee. Spoke with Coach Penna from Pensacola yesterday morning before church, and he said that they did look very, very good. It'll be a good atmosphere and a good game for us tomorrow night. Tallahassee is always very tough at home. They're tough everywhere, but they're especially tough there in Tallahassee. And our men will have to be prepared. You know, I doubt that Tallahassee and Chipola play on Tuesday nights because such of a large turnouts at the local churches. So I'm not for sure why they do that, other than the fact that it does give them an advantage that after a Saturday night game, they don't have to, 2 days later, 3 days later, get on a bus and travel anywhere to play. And so they take advantage of playing on Tuesdays instead of Wednesdays, which our conference policies allow. So we're going to have to put our big boy pants on and get ready and prepared today in practice and tomorrow in shoot around and go over there and win a ball game.
And if we look at the numbers, pretty much in every category but maybe one, both teams are neck and neck. They average 84.6, Commodores average 84.1. Field goal percentage, we average 46.4, they average 45.3. 3-point percentage, we average 35.2, they average 36.4. Field goal percentage, 69% compared to 67%. The only place there's a little difference is rebounds per game, 33.2 compared to their 44.6 points a game. Strong on the boards.
They're strong on the boards. They're tough. Physical team. We'll have to, be on top of our game in all ways. One thing that we're going to have to do better is defend the three-point line, run guys, or some people call it push guys off the three-point line. We're going to have to do that well at Tallahassee. They shoot the ball well anyway from the three-point line, but especially at home. So we're going to have to really run those guys off the three-point line and contest those well, and then block out and rebound. If we can do that at a high level, play well in transition defense, we've got a good shot to win the game.
And then Saturday, we'll be back in the Billy Harrison Fieldhouse. Hopefully we'll have the same crowd or a larger crowd, because if you watch or listen to it or you were there, that has to be an incentive to come in and watch the Commodores play. Play Northwest Florida State. They're 14-2 overall. They didn't play Saturday, so they're 0-0 in the Pan Am Conference. They will play Wednesday at home against Pensacola State. And they're ranked 4th in the state coaches poll, 24th in the NJCAA national poll. So what do we know about the Raiders, Coach?
Their guard play is very, very good. They have a forward/post player, Rodriguez, that just plays at such a high level. He kind of had his coming out party during the state tournament last year. So we're going to have to, again, transition defense is key. We're going to have to guard the dribble very well against them and the three-point line. But well coached, a good program, or a great program, like others in our conference. And I'll worry about that as soon as the Tallahassee game is over with Tuesday night. But right now I couldn't tell you too much other than we're going to have to play well on Saturday, but it will be a good, fun game.
Quickly, because we're about to run out of time, we'll look at the numbers for each team. They average 96.8 points a game, and Commodores 84.1. Field goal percentage is at 55.7. 3-point percentage is at 42.1. Free throw percentage 71.9. Rebounds per game is 41.4. So big numbers for the Raiders.
Yeah, something with those rebound numbers that I probably don't do that I need to, it might be a little skewed, is I don't put dead ball rebounds in our statistical categories. So if you have, added in, 4 or 5 of those a game that just roll out of bounds to us, or the statistician wasn't for sure who got it, that might close that gap. Our rebounding stats are based specifically on when someone actually secures the rebound themselves.
During play. So we're out of time, Coach. So for Coach Jay Powell, I'm James Baxley. Thanks for watching, Commodore fans, and we'll see you next time on the Commodore Sports Network.
This has been Coach's Corner with your host, James Baxley.